Hello out there, Oregon fans. Welcome to another Happy Hour with the Ducks, presented by Pepsi. I'm Rob Moseley, editor-in-chief of GoDucks.com. Thank you for joining us again on a Thursday night at 5 o'clock. Just to let you know, though, this edition of Happy Hour of the Ducks was taped Wednesday. So we're taping this a day early for scheduling purposes. So if you're watching on our social channels, thank you for tuning in. We won't be able to respond live to some of your comments as we have in the past. But we're here with you as always at Thursday at Thursday night at 5 o'clock. So thank you for joining us. Hopefully everybody's staying healthy out there, enjoying your summer in these unique circumstances that we're all experiencing in the midst of this pandemic. Wearing your masks here in Oregon, we're wearing masks indoors and outdoors as often as humanly possible to try to cut down on the spread of the coronavirus. And also keeping our indoor gatherings to 10 people or less to avoid the spread that way as well. So you can see I'm in my office for the first time in a long time. It's absolutely exhilarating to be around our facilities, I must say. It's pretty sparse in terms of personnel. Most of my coworkers are still working from home, as I primarily am doing. Came in just for this. No other coworkers here in my unit here, so I'm able to not wear a mask here while we're filming this, but we're wearing masks around the office as well, and all of our student athletes who are here and working out wearing masks in those instances too. So we're doing our part. Hopefully everybody else is doing your part. Being in the office did allow me to pick up a little bit of hardware. So that was very nice to be able to pick up some stuff that I got working with the football team. I obviously play an extremely minimal role in the success they had, but sure was an enjoyable ride last fall on the way to the Rose Bowl championship. And I sure enjoyed being just a very small part of that program and being able to enjoy some of the accolades that it's sure nice to the family spirit we have around here and being able to share in some of that success is really nice. Today, though, we are talking women's basketball, and we are bringing in the first guest, I think, from our very first Happy Hour with the Ducks, Kelly Graves. Coach Graves wearing his mask, setting a good example too. Coach Graves, thank you for joining us. I appreciate it. How are you holding up?
Doing really well, Rob. I appreciate you having me on, and I just wanted to support my. I just got this from from our equipment people, so that looks pretty good. And it's I echo what you were saying, man. It is so important that we take care of business. Everybody wants their sports back, Rob, and I think we've got to remember that it's not just about the players and the coaches and the staffs. The people who are going to allow football and all the other fall sports as well as basketball back is the general population. They're the ones that are, that need to take care of business and do the right thing by wearing their masks in public, staying, at least 6 feet apart from people, trying to avoid any kind of a big gathering and just washing their hands. I don't think that's too much to ask of individuals to sacrifice. It's beyond me why people feel that that A, they don't need to, or B, that it's beneath them somehow. Do the right thing. Be smart. Crying out loud. You got to sacrifice if you want to be a part of my team.
There you go. Yeah, you don't want to get buried on the bench. You got to listen to coach and be a team player. That's right. Well, our theme today is first year Ducks. There's a new crop of first-year Ducks that's on campus, or at least, or in the process of coming to campus in some instances. First-year Ducks for your program, but also we're really excited too about the first-year Ducks. They're about to make their WNBA debuts. So I imagine this is a pretty exciting time for you and your program, anticipating both those groups of Ducks suiting up finally.
Yeah, I was looking at the roster. We have 13 players on the roster for next year. 9 of them have never, played basketball in a Duck uniform before. So we have a lot of new faces. All 9 of the newcomers are actually in or getting in tonight. I think Angela Dugalic is flying in straight from Serbia, and she'll be here a little bit later. But yeah, everybody's here. I think most of them get their COVID tests tomorrow. They've taken some other tests for the antibodies and things like that. And if all things go the way they're supposed to, we're going to be allowed to start working out with them on July 20th, which I think is maybe Monday of next week. And I can't wait. We have there's certain protocols. We'll all have to be in masks, even them while they're working out. We can only be in groups of 4 or less, and they can't like guard each other. They have to be separated, throughout the entire workout. But it's a workout. It's coaches with players, with basketballs, and in a gym. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good. There's obviously plenty you can do just working on individual skill work and small groups that doesn't require them banging into each other just yet. Ultimately, you want to see some of that toughness, and I'm sure test some of that. But plenty of time for that, hopefully down the road. And again, all of this we can all do our part to help make possible by making good decisions. I wanted to start though with the pros coming up because the WNBA schedule just came out. The teams
Yeah.
are just starting their preseason camp. July 25th, which is coming up, is the first games. Just how much are you anticipating seeing the pro debuts of Sabrina Ionescu and Satu Sabli and Ruthie Hebert?
Oh, I can't wait, and even more so than normal. I mean, I think at this point I'd watch anything, but it's pretty neat that we're going to be able to watch 3 of our own, and I in fact I'm old school here. I still I still have a calendar book.
Oh, okay.
I don't I do it this way. So I got the WNBA schedule yesterday and actually went through it and put every single game of our 3 players in there. So I know what I'm going to be doing on those game nights.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I'm a little newer school. I wouldn't describe myself as the most tech savvy person, but I imported all 3 of their teams' schedules: the New York Liberty, the Chicago Sky, and the Dallas Wings into my phone's calendar. So yeah, I think that first week, my whole every afternoon that first week they have games, I either have Zoom calls for work or I'll be watching those games. You can see the Dallas
Yeah.
Wings schedule there, Satu Sabli's team. Um, the very first game of the season, Sabrina Ionescu will be in. No surprise there. They want to make the number 1 draft pick as prominent as possible, and she'll be going against the Seattle Storm. No small challenge there. Just as far as Sabrina as far as Sabrina's season goes, her team's kind of rebuilding. What do you look? What will you be looking to see in that very first game for her and the Liberty against Seattle?
Survival.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got Sabrina's got 7 rookies on her team. They're going against the champions from 2 years ago. Seattle probably was the favorite to win it last year, but Brianna Stewart tore her Achilles and missed the entire season. She was the reigning MVP. So, they're going against, one of the best teams, one of the top 1 or 2 teams in the league. And like I said, Sabrina's got 7 rookies. She knows the challenge that's ahead of her. We actually spoke last night for quite a bit, and she's really enjoying the wubble down there. She loves her team. She loves her coaches, as she would. But she realizes they have a real uphill battle. But if anybody could lead her team, you know, in those kind of circumstances, it's Sabrina. And she several times has brought up the fact that, kind of reminds her of her first year here. We had 7 freshmen in her freshman season here, and look at how well we ended up doing. So there's a lot of similarities there.
Yeah, she's been on some teams that defied expectations. So hopefully we see some more of that. You can see there that all 3 were able to get together for a meal recently. Sabrina put that on her Instagram, and that was just, that just made the heart sore. I mean, just seeing the 3 of them together. I'm sure that doesn't happen very often given their various team responsibilities, but I assume for the rookies, the Wubbles, that's probably the group that can handle the Wubble the easiest because they don't know any different and they're excited to make their debuts. Some of the veterans and the staff might be struggling with it, but do you have a sense talking to the 3 of them what that lifestyle is like right now?
It's funny. I talked with all 3 of them about that very thing, and especially Sabrina last night. I think she can play on that. All those rookies, they're just excited to be playing and playing anywhere. And I think you're right. A lot of the veterans, they're not that excited about being there. So, the rookies and the young kids can take advantage of that, I think, and come out with that college spirit and let's go get this win, and then who knows what'll happen. But I'm actually surprised they allowed those 3 together like that, because they've been kind of frowning upon kind of this team being around that team, et cetera, et cetera. They've tried to keep everybody within their own group. So I don't know if that was secret. And if it was, it wasn't very wise to put it on social media. But my guess is they got an okay from somebody. Those three are the type that aren't really going to do anything that they're not supposed to
Right.
be.
Yeah, if they had to steal away for a minute, I'm sure glad they did though, because I got to tell you, when I scrolled past that on social media, it was just immediately my eyes lit up like, oh, they got a chance to see each other. It's just you hope they would get that opportunity. So again, Sabrina's team plays on July 25th, the opening day, 9 a.m. On the West Coast for those of us out here. The next day, Ruthie's team, the Chicago Sky, will make its debut at 9 o'clock Pacific, and Satu's team, the Dallas Wings, will play at 2 p.m. on Sunday. One I've got circled on the schedule already, and I'm sure I'm not alone, is Wednesday of that first week, July 29th, that evening. Sabrina's New York Liberty take on Satu's Dallas Wings. And how odd is it going to be to watch them going head to head?
It's going to be a dream come true for me as a coach. I mean, that's pretty neat. That's pretty special. And I'm sure there are going to be times when they'll actually guard each other. What a neat experience for both. And that's definitely and that's nationally televised, right, on CBS Sports Network that night.
Correct. Correct.
And yeah, that's definitely one I think all fans should circle and watch if you're a Duck fan. But it's pretty neat. I talked to all three. I talked to Ruthie, Satu, and Sabrina in just the last couple of days, and they're all doing well. I talked with their coaching staffs as well, and I think everybody's happy and pleased with how they're playing. Courtney couldn't be happier that Ruthie is running, is rolling to the basket for her. Those two worked out together even before they got to the wubble. So I think all three have a chance to really succeed and make a huge impact on their teams.
Yeah, Chicago, I think, put out a clip on their social media of Ruthie running the pick and roll in practice, and it sure did look familiar. But yeah, have you had a chance to talk to Courtney too? And just is that relationship developing kind of like we hoped? We thought they'd be a good tandem together. Is that dynamic developing between the two of them?
Yes, it is, and that's what I say. Courtney, they paired them up before while they were still training in Chicago, and Courtney and Ruthie were paired together for a reason. And so I talked to Courtney a few times, and she said that Ruthie is really picking things up. They were actually surprised. They think she's better than they thought. They think she's bigger
That's
than
awesome.
they thought. There were a lot of eyes opened, and so I think, and again, I think they're going to be pleasantly surprised. It'll take some time. She's going to be going against Brittany Griner and Sylvia Fowles and Liz Cambage, all these true centers quite often, and so there's going to be a learning curve for all of them. No doubt about it.
One thing about Ruthie is I think you can fall into the trap of underestimating her because she's so nice that maybe you can wonder how competitive she is. And sometimes going up and down the court, she could look more tired than she is. But when the ball's in the air, when the whistle blows, she was your hammer, as you always put it. She is a warrior, and anybody who underestimates Ruthie Hebert does so at their own risk.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better. The most consistent player I think I've ever coached. A bad night for her was like 14 and 12. It was like you could just always count on her each and every night.
Well, it sure will be exciting to watch them make their debuts as professionals here coming up in the next couple of weeks. We're going to be following that and covering that from our platforms and social media channels. So follow along with us because cheering them on is going to be a highlight of this summer for all of us. I think. Let's pivot now to what the newcomers, the first year Ducks, as we said, who you're welcoming in. So they're all in town now, and you can start working out. And any more light you can shed on just kind of what schedules are like for them here in these upcoming weeks?
It's all up in the air still, right? I mean, if everything goes
Right.
well this week, They have to be isolated for the week. They're getting tests done, and if they're cleared, then yes, on Monday we're going to start working out with them in groups of 4, and we'll keep them in that same cohort, the entire time with the same coaches, and and yeah, we'll try to get them in shape. We're going to obviously work on their skill development. Maybe talk about some of the things that are important to us as a basketball team, because when the season does get going, and it will at some point, we got to hit the ground running. With all these young kids, they have to be up to speed a little bit more. They're Most of the freshmen are taking one class. It's online, and we'll have them lifting in the weight room, and doing some conditioning 4 days a week. We can work with them 4 days a week. I've encouraged them on the weekends to safely explore Oregon. This is a great chance for them to kind of hang out together. And again, in those small groups, for the first few weeks, we don't want, let's say, for instance, Sydney we have like 4 of our newcomers are all rooming together. Okay, they live together in an apartment, and so we're going to keep them playing together, and then we will encourage them to kind of go out and do things together and not really intermix with the other players right now, as much as possible. I mean, we all know that that's going to be done to some degree, but there's so much to see in Oregon and do, from the coast to the Silver Falls to up the McKenzie, to just so much stuff to do. And so I really want them to get a taste of Oregon. What a great time to do it. And so I think that's mainly how they're going to be, spending their time.
In terms of the workout groups, the small groups they can work out in, how do you determine that? Do you want all guards working together, all bigs working together? Do you want them, a big and a guard?
Well, ideally, you would have a couple of both, but no, right now we're going to do it by their living arrangements, and because they all room together to some degree. And it kind of works out to where there's usually a couple of posts and a couple of guards in each group. So it's great. I mean, we play a positionless game, really. During practice this year, Ruthie Hebert, she was doing a lot of the guard drills. Lydia Giomi, same thing. We expect all our players to be able to pass, dribble, and shoot. And so we don't try to pigeonhole them. I think that's the new game. I think we're ahead of that game. You look at our players, Satu, for instance, playing inside and out. Even Sabrina played 3 or 4 positions. We played her a lot this year at the 4. People don't realize that. Erin Boley goes inside and outside. So I think our team makeup is such that we're going to have a lot more positionless players this year.
Interesting. Well, let's talk about each of those players real briefly, and we've got some highlights as some points of reference for people to watch too. But starting out with a guard, Tahina Paupau, who's gotten a lot of accolades based on her prep career. What can fans expect when she takes the court?
Well, Tahina was one of the 5 finalists for the National Naismith Player of the Year award. As you can see right there by that smile, that's what she's going to replace Ruthie with the biggest smile on the team. Her attitude's infectious. She plays really hard. I know our strength coach is so pumped to be working with her in the weight room, because she is a tireless worker, in the weight room, but can handle it. She can really shoot it. She's a dead eye from the perimeter, and she's strong. I think she's a candidate right there. You can see her attacking the basket, using her strength to finish. And there you can see just great range and a great touch. She was the California Gatorade Player of the Year. Well-deserved, and truly one of the best players in the country. I think she's got a chance to come in right away and make a huge impact, and a leader. And her team ended up number 1 in the nation this year. So, she's also a winner. It's the same school that produced Candace Wiggins, a Stanford great, and Kelsey Plum, a Washington great. So, good pedigree, same coach. And yeah, I'll tell you, Coach Terry told me that she thought Tahina was the best player she ever coached. And I said, now, you're talking about Candace Wiggins, who was the leading scorer in the conference before Kelsey Plum broke that record. And she said, Kelly, and she's not one for hyperbole. She's kind of an old school coach. She goes, Kelly Tahina is the best player I've ever coached.
I think Candace Wiggins, if I'm not mistaken, Sab maybe tied a record of hers. I think by being Player of the Year 3 times, something like that. I mean, you're talking about one of the
Mm.
the other true
Yeah.
elite players in the history of this league. So
Yeah,
that's
no question.
quite a comparison. How about Maddie Shear, another
Hey,
perimeter
by the
player?
way, can I just say something?
Oh,
She's also the
absolutely.
cousin of Big Joe Salavea, our line coach
And
for the
you can't
football
go
team.
wrong.
So yeah, so and Tahina's dad is about as big as Big Joe. So Tahina will be playing a lot, Rob. I don't want those two guys to corner me.
No, you do not. But if you want them on your side, that's for sure. So it'll be good to have them cheering alongside. That's for sure. Uh, as I mentioned, Maddie Shear, you know, another perimeter player who can probably get to the hoop. I expect as well.
Maddie Shear, I'll tell you, is one of the most underrated players. It's hard to say that when she's a two-time Kentucky Gatorade Player of the Year, a state champ, a top 20 player, and a McDonald's All-American. But I'm telling you what, she reminds me a lot of Maite. Can do a little of everything. Great ball skills, a great passer. Um, she's very creative, as you can see right there with the basketball. But she can score at all three levels. Good pull-up game. She's got range from the three, and she can get to the basket. Another player that had a bunch of triple doubles in high school because she does a little of everything. But I'm telling you, she is crafty and creative, and I like her a lot. And the best thing is she plays both ends of the court.
Yeah, so that makes the Maite comparison particularly apt because we all remember what kind of a defensive player Maite Cazorla was. Are you in touch with Maite, by the way? She's obviously not playing in the WNBA for this shortened year. How any Maite update for us?
No, I know she's back in Spain. I haven't talked to her in about a month. And, I think, uh, yeah, just with all the everything that was going on, she was unable to come over this year. It's unfortunate. I know she wishes she was here, but it just didn't work out this way.
Yeah, travel's been so difficult. International travel's been so difficult, and when you make a decision like that, when she made her decision, everything was just so up in the air. It was
Yes, yeah.
understandable getting timing to kind of be careful.
Yeah, no doubt. And if maybe she would change that decision today, but now it would be really difficult for her to get over and get quarantined and then be able to play. So I think it's fine. She's going to take this year off. She's got a spot in this league. She has a future in this league, so she'll be back.
Yeah, I know everybody's going to be excited to watch her. Let's pivot back to this class that you're welcoming in here and talk about Sydney Parrish. What's her game like?
Well, flat out, she's the best shooter in the country. She's at 6'1", 6'2", great range, but she's more than just a shooter. She's she can get to the basket and finish it, inside. She's got a pretty good post up game, kind of crafty. Just one of those players that, every night she's going to get you 18 to 20. She averaged 25 or 26, I think, in high school, but every night, she just finds a way. She'll get to the line 6 or 8 times. She'll hit a couple of threes, get a couple of putbacks. You look at her and you go, well, I don't know if she had a great game. And then you look at the box score. Oh, she had 21 and 9. But she is a shooter, no question about it. Great personality, a lot of fun, competitor, won a state championship in Indiana, and that's no small feat. And in the championship game, I think she went for 32. So she's a gamer. She was the highest rated of all our players. And I'm not going to say any of them are better than the others. They all fit who we are and how we play, but you're going to really like her. Dad
You
was a
mentioned a couple of.
coach. Yeah, Dad played for Rick Majerus and then was later a coach, and actually is good friends with Mark Hudson, who spent many
Oh,
years on Ernie Kent's staff, and was
right.
on the
Yeah,
staff when the Lukes and Freddie Jones were playing.
that's awesome. It's in some ways the basketball world probably seems like a small world a little bit. I wonder. You mentioned a couple of times just the personalities and how outgoing a couple of these players are. You know, it some of them it feels like have been committed to your program for quite a while, and we know these names pretty well at this point. They haven't been here, and yet you're recruiting nationally. You're signing players from all over the country. Have they had much of a chance yet? To what kind of relationships have they been able to form just as a class amongst themselves?
Oh, they had their own little chat group. They knew each other before. So Sydney was the first domino to fall, so to speak. She was the first one, and her and Kylie and Maddie were all really good friends through the EYBL and Blue Star. Um, uh, Both Angela and Tahina were involved with Blue Star as well. So yeah, they all knew each other, and obviously they would have all gotten to really know each other playing in both the McDonald's All-Star Game and the Jordan Brand Classic. But you know, of all those three that we've already talked about, all three were their Gatorade Players of the Year in their states, and California and Indiana. Those are big. If you're the Player of the Year in either of those two states, that's big time. And then Kentucky, of course, with Maddie as a two-time Gatorade. That's home of Aaron Boley. So I think Aaron and Maddie are two of the best players to ever come out of that state. Certainly two of the most decorated. So pretty neat. We're going to have two Kentucky players on our team. Go figure, in Eugene, Oregon.
Hey, you guys are recruiting the best. So, well, you take them from all. We talk about being a national brand. You take them from all over. And it's awesome to see players that want to come here and know that they're entering a relationship where even if they're moving far, they can feel like there's a family atmosphere they're getting into. I know that's something that's important for you guys to foster as a program.
Yeah, no doubt. And what I love about each one of these guys, Rob, they're all gym rats. You know how Sabrina, well, some people may not know, I know you do. She was always in that gym shooting, always after hours, because their apartment's right across the street from the arena. And I got a bunch of players who are gonna, push her record of nights in the gym. And all three of those players that we've already mentioned are three of those candidates.
That's awesome. Let's move on to you. You mentioned Angela Dugalich, uh, and it sounds like you're graduating one unicorn in Satu Sabli. It sounds like you might have another unicorn coming down the pipe.
Hey, I'll tell you what, this one's special. Angela is a special player. This footage is grainy, but you're talking about someone 6'4" there on a step back, step back three. She can handle it. She's a great passer. Look at the behind the back pass. Won a state championship in Illinois, and there's a lot of really good players in Illinois. She played for the same club coach as Candace Parker. And so he made comparisons often about those two. But you're looking at someone right there, 6'4", doing the things that she does. Has been training with the Serbian senior national team, and won a state. Well, I think I already said that, won a state championship in Illinois. But she is en route right now, straight from Serbia. We'll have to quarantine a little bit longer than the other players, I believe. But she's going to be on that national team, and the Serbs, man, that's no joke. In Rio in 2016, they took the bronze, so they're one of the best countries in the world. And so anyway, I look for her to have a really big year. She can play inside and outside, and I think people will be really excited about her.
Watching a player with that kind of length, with that kind of fluid movement, you just don't see that
Yeah.
very often. It does remind me though of Sedona Prince, who is, in some regards, is going to be a newcomer for you too. You want to maybe sneak in here, speak to Sedona Prince and Niara Sabali, who aren't first year players for your program, but are looking forward to hitting the court finally this year as well.
Well, watch this next one. So here she is shooting a three. Look at that, going off 2 feet and slamming it down as she was playing for USA basketball. I mean, she's 6'7", and she's going to be 6'7" the whole game, Rob. And really athletic. There were days when she dominated inside in practice, and yes, that includes against Ruthie. She is, I think, a real special player, and has got a chance, if she again stays healthy and continues to work at it, she's got a chance to be another top draft pick in the WNBA, as were Satu and Sabrina. So Yep, and she's got a great personality, great spirit about her, fun loving. You've been around her, you know what I'm talking about. She's a
Absolutely.
hoot. She's a hoot, and she keeps us loose. And from Austin, Texas, which is kind of cool. I have never coached a player from Texas, I don't think. And so we're excited about her. Yeah, you're right. She's just a freshman, but she's been around. She's a couple years out of high school because of an injury and transfer. So we expect her, I think, from day one to come in. I think she's got a chance to be one of the top 2 or 3 players in the Pac-12 this season, Rob. This season. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say it. This season.
That's awesome. And she is really, really fun to be around. And I think fans,
Yeah.
you get a taste from that from social media. You're going to love watching her. But her and Niara seem to have a pretty good bond already off the court that I would assume will
Oh,
pay dividends on the court as well.
absolutely. Those two have really brought out the best in each other, I think. They've spent so much time together rehabbing during the season and those kind of things. And then in the off season, both of them stayed here pretty much the entire time. But, Sedona has really embraced the Northwest. She's out there fishing all the time. I mean, she is an avid fisherwoman, fisher person. Uh, she enjoys it. She loves it. And for some of our old timers, and yeah, we do have some old timer fans, and that's good. Uh, she's got a little Bill Walton in her. Great passer. You get her to that high post, and she can just, makes the right play. She's very skilled. She's very fundamental. So everybody's going to like her.
A lot to look forward to now. So Sedona and Niara in kind of that front court rotation, they've got a newbie to help break in and welcome to the program, and Kylie Watson. What is she going to provide for your program?
She is. I'm telling you, I think her ceiling is big time. You know, you watch her in the summers over the years, and she's kind of a power player. You get her inside, and she's just gonna, kick your butt. She finishes real well. Got an awesome spin move inside, an excellent rebounder, and a great outletter. And then as I was watching her this year, and I know she's been working hard with a trainer, I'm now seeing a player who's shooting the three, who's getting a rebound going coast to coast, is making behind the back passes, and uh, I'm seeing somebody that it potentially could be a 2-3. She's I'll tell you what, she's the whole package, super strong. Dad was a state champ football coach back there this past season. Tim, he played for the Seattle Seahawks, and so he was familiar a little bit with the Northwest. But she is from a beautiful part of the world, just outside of Ocean City, New Jersey. So, right there on the boardwalk. It's just south of Atlantic City, 15 miles or so, but just a beautiful part of the world. And how's this? I mean, Rob, she was like a 4.7 student in high school. She never got anything
Oh,
other than an A, and she took mostly college prep courses. I mean, 4.7, Rob, that's more than you and me combined, buddy.
yeah, I was going
I
to
didn't
say
even
if
know
you
it was
added up my
possible.
GPAs every year from at Oregon, I don't know if you'd get 4.7. I thought Justin Herbert's
Yeah, but
4.2 was impressive. 4.7.
4.7. Yeah, so anyway, I just think I'm excited for her because I just don't know where she's gonna end up playing, and I mean that in a good way. I mean she's gonna find her way on the court. There's no question, but she's so versatile, and so good on her. I think we've got a really hard worker and a future pro right there.
That's awesome. High praise. But when you're recruiting at the level that you're at, you kind of expect at this point you're recruiting players with that kind of ceiling. You added a couple transfers to the mix too, and Taylor Mikesell and Ariel Wilson. How do they fit the plans going forward?
Well, Taylor is our kind of player. I mean, she is a gym rat extraordinaire. Was the Big Ten Freshman of the Year at Maryland. She won 2 Big Ten championships with Maryland. They were a projected 1 seed in this year's tournament, just like we were. Started every game there for 2 years. Was an all-conference performer this past season as well. Great three-point shooter, made more than 93s, which were the top 2 single season marks in Maryland history, both men and women.
Oh
So
well.
she can really fill it up. And what you see here is not somebody who just is a catch and shoot player. She can really come off screens, come off the dribble. She can create her own shot as well. A good passer. Had to play a little point guard for him this past couple years. That's not really her natural position, but you're talking about somebody that went 14 of 17 from the 3-point line in one game in high school. I mean, 14 of 17, Rob. You couldn't go 14 of 17 on layups during layup line before the game. So,
I couldn't go 14 of 1,700.
yeah, okay, maybe. So, and I like her. She's a gym rat. She's the kind that has to make 1,000 shots every day before she leaves the gym. Great family. You know what? All these players have great families. That's the part I really enjoyed about getting to know them. They're all in, but the Mike Sells are terrific people. Mom's an educator, dad's a doctor. She's actually from Ohio, but went to Maryland, and she was just looking for a little something different. And again, she's perfect for how we play. She's going to be able to stretch the defense. And her and Sedona were friends. They played together a couple of years for USA Basketball. I mean, Taylor has, she was on the Pan Am team last year, and she played for a couple of the U16s and U17s as well. So she's a decorated national player, big time player.
And Ariel Wilson, you want to talk about length? Looks like she's got it. Got plenty of that.
Yeah, she does. She's a legit 6'5", maybe 6'6". As you can see, she's got to get some work on her frame. Just came to us late. Morgan Yeager is I think most of our fans know, she medically retired. Good on her. She had graduated, and her body just hasn't been healthy for a long time, and so she just decided to kind of hang up basketball, move back to Australia. She had a great job, and so we had a spot open, and at that late date there was nobody really on the grad transfer wire that could come in immediately for just 1 year, and so I got a call from a couple of my players saying, there's a junior college player down at Kilgore. She's actually from Fayetteville, North Carolina, but they said, she's got outside skills and some potential. And so I watched the same film that you're watching now and talked to some people, and she's a great student. Talk about a good family. Mom's an educator, and dad's works for FedEx. So I told her, I said, well, so I bet you value education and you're probably always on time. And sure enough, yes, that's the case. She's been great in all our conversations. And, early on in the process, you say, okay, you got to fill out this paperwork and send it in. She is on it now. And I really appreciate that. So it's funny, when we went out and got her at the airport the other day, it was funny. It was the first time I can say this. I'd never met her in my life. Here she is coming to University of Oregon, and we've never met. So it was an unusual experience, but I really like her, and she's got a chance. She's got a chance to develop, and now she's going to be around a lot of other tall players. So I think it will help her improve as well. So I don't know how much she's going to play. She's a ways off from that, but she's going to be 6'6" the whole game long. And I always tell people, I'm a big believer in higher education. And that's what we are. We've got 6'7", 6'6", 6'5", 6'6", 6'4", and 6'3". So there you go, buddy.
That sounds pretty good. Just talking through those players and the how versatile they are, and then when you're talking earlier about how kind of positionless you want to be, it makes me wonder, like, if you were able to hit pause on a game with your team on the floor at any point, how many people you think could accurately guess what position each player is playing at that point? It seems like it'd be really hard because you want such versatility, and you require such versatility out of the different positions.
Yeah, and I'm not a numbers guy. I mean, I used numbers before. A lot of coaches use number 1 for point guard, 2 for a shooting guard, 3 for a small forward, 4 for a power forward, and 5 for a center. I don't use numbers. I mean, we're just players. We just go out and play. it sometimes makes it easier when you tell them a number, but then they get pigeonholed into what they do. I will tell you this though. I wouldn't be surprised to see at different times we might go into a big 2-3 zone and be 6-7, 6-5, and 6-4 on that back line. That's going to be a hard zone to penetrate. It's going to be a hard zone to shoot over. People talked about our length this year, but literally we could be 6'4", 6'5", 6'7" along that back line. In fact, I would anticipate that's going to be a normal team that we'll have on the floor.
Yeah, good luck to the opposition trying to attack that. Coach, we can't thank you enough for giving us some more of your time. I hope you're finding yourself able to enjoy your summer and spend some time with family. I know you must be looking forward to those workouts potentially next week as well. But thanks again for joining us.
You got it, Rob. And listen, I'm telling you, let's do the right thing, buddy. We need everybody. I want to see Coach Mario's team and Matt Ulmer's team as much as anybody. But we're not going to be able to unless we all start doing this and staying away from each other. So let's do the right thing. Let's be smart, Duck fans, okay? Can you hear me?
I can. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Those are fitting words to end on, and I appreciate it, Coach. Thanks again for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your week and enjoy your weekend coming up, and we'll all look forward again as we're talking about these first year Ducks. Coach gets to work with his program's first year players here coming up soon, and we're all really eagerly anticipating as well the start of the WNBA season and being able to watch Sabrina and Satu and Ruthie make their debuts, and so much excitement there. So tune into those games. A lot of them are going to be on TV. I know I bought the package, the streaming service last year, so I could watch Maite Cazorla's games with the Atlanta Dream. It's very reasonably priced. So that's another way to tune in as well. But follow us as well, because we'll be sure keeping track of our alumni. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. Another happy hour with the Ducks presented by Pepsi. I'm Rob Moseley. Thanks again for Scott LeBounty on the back end doing all the great production work, all that great video you're able to see while we're talking with Coach. Just really makes for a great production. So for as much as I drag it down, he lifts it up. Thanks on the back end, Scott. And thanks again for watching. Hope everybody stays safe out there. Mask up, as Coach was saying. Be a good teammate, and we'll see you again for another. I'm struggling. There we go. We'll see you again next week for another happy hour with the Ducks presented by Pepsi.